Please, listen to me. As the Valentine season draws near, don't be carried away by the false promise of hookers. Don't ever go to a man's house alone, especially if you barely know him. I almost died today. Imagine walking into a romantic Valentine's date, expecting love, only to find yourself trapped in a nightmare. Rita thought she was about to have the best night of her life. Instead, she ended up fighting for survival inside the home of a man with dark secrets. What seemed like a simple dinner turned into a terrifying game of life and death. The charming smile she once adored became the face of pure evil. Would she make it out alive? Or would she become another name on the list of missing women? This is her story. February 14th, Valentine's Day, a day dedicated to celebrating love and affection. Rita was excited that she was going to have a fun-filled romantic day with her new boyfriend Ben, who she met through a dating app. Ben had invited her over for a special dinner at his house. She had known him for only 2 months, but he was everything she had ever wanted. Handsome, rich, and charming. "Come over, my love," Ben had said. "I have a surprise for you." Her best friend, Rose, was skeptical. "Rita, are you sure about this? You don't really know him that well." Rita waved off her concerns. "Ben is a good man. I trust him." She got dressed in a stunning red gown, sprayed her best perfume, and took a taxi to his house. The moment she arrived, she noticed something odd. The street was unusually quiet, and Ben's house, though beautiful, seemed too isolated. Still, she pushed away the doubts in her mind. Love was worth the risk. She knocked on the door, and Ben opened it with a broad smile. "Happy Valentine's Day, my love." Little did she know, the night was about to take a terrifying turn. Ben's house was luxurious. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the floor gleamed. He led her inside, guiding her gently by the hand. "I prepared something special for you," he whispered. On the dining table was an elegant meal, candlelit, with red roses spread across. Rita felt like a queen. As they sat down, he poured her a glass of wine. "To love," he toasted as their glass of wine clinked, not knowing that Ben had already drugged the wine. She took a sip, but something about his eyes made her uneasy. He kept glancing at his phone, checking something. His smile seemed forced. "Are you expecting someone?" she asked. Ben chuckled. "No, it's just business. Don't worry about it." Rita decided to let it go, but deep inside, an unsettling feeling crept into her heart. As they ate, Rita started feeling lightheaded. Her vision blurred slightly, and her hands trembled. "Ben. I don't feel so well," she murmured. Ben leaned closer. "It's just the wine, my dear. Relax." But Rita knew something was wrong. She had never felt this way before. Her instincts screamed at her to leave, but her body felt weak. She reached for her phone under the table and quickly texted Rose, "Please help me. I'm in danger, call the police." She pressed send just as Ben grabbed her phone. "What are you doing?" His voice was sharp. I just wanted to check the time," she stammered. His face darkened. No need. You're staying here with me tonight. Panic shot through her veins. The door was locked. She was trapped. Rita's heart pounded as she realized the danger she was in. Ben stood up slowly, placing his phone on the table. You look scared, Rita, he said, smiling. Relax. I won't bite. His words sent chills down her spine. She knew she had to act fast. Ben, I need to use the restroom, she said, forcing a smile. He studied her for a moment before nodding and agreeing to allow her use the restroom. She walked carefully, her legs wobbling. As she passed a slightly open door, curiosity got the better of her. When she saw something horrifying, women's handbags, shoes, and blood-stained clothes. Her stomach twisted. Ben was dangerous. She had to escape. She tiptoed back to the dining area pretending not to have seen anything, but her legs were weak. Ben was waiting, with his arms crossed. Did you find something interesting? He asked, with a cold voice. Rita's breath hitched, and she managed to force a smile, trying to keep calm. I just need to go home now, she said, trying to mask her fear. Ben chuckled, but it wasn't a laugh of amusement. It was a warning. You're not going anywhere, he said. Rita's mind raced and her blood ran cold. She had thought of every possible ways of escaping, but Ben was blocking the only exit which she could escape from. Her legs felt weak, her breath shallow, but she had to think fast. Ben, I just need to call my sister, she said, forcing a laugh. She always checks in on me. Ben tilted his head, watching her closely. Oh? Your sister? He took a step forward, and Rita's pulse quickened. She needed a distraction. Her eyes moved quickly around the room looking for how to escape, or something to distract Ben. Suddenly, she saw a flower vase around the corner of the room. I forgot to tell you something, Ben, she continued, stalling for time. This dinner is amazing. She reached for the wine glass, pretending to take another sip, but instead, she threw the liquid in Ben's face. He shouted, stumbling back as the alcohol stung his eyes. Without hesitation, Rita grabbed the flower vase and smashed it over his head. He fell to the ground, groaning in pain. She sprinted to the door and twisted the handle, but it was locked. She banged on the door, screaming. Help! Somebody help me! No answer. No neighbors. No one to hear her, because the house is isolated somewhere inside the Leckie estate. Ben stood up, wiping blood from his forehead. You're making this difficult, Rita. He took slow, deliberate steps toward her. I was hoping tonight would be peaceful, but you are trying to make things too complicated for me. Rita's hands fumbled for anything she could use as a weapon. Then, she remembered the kitchen, hoping to find something to defend herself with. She ran past him, knocking over a chair as she ran. As she burst into the kitchen, her fingers trembling as she searched for something, anything to defend herself. Her eyes landed on a knife block. She grabbed the largest blade just as Ben appeared in the doorway, his face twisted with rage. You're being very rude, Rita, he said, his voice eerily calm. Stay back, she screamed, holding the knife out in front of her. Ben laughed. You think that will stop me? Rita's heart pounded. She was running out of time. Then she remembered the window. It was slightly open. If she could reach it, she could escape. She lunged toward it, but Ben grabbed her wrist. She screamed, struggling to break free, but he was too strong. Just when she thought it was over, a loud bang sounded on the front door. Police? You are under arrest. Open the door. Ben's grip faltered for just a second, and Rita seized the moment. She twisted out of his grasp and plunged the knife into his shoulder. He roared in pain, staggering backward as she sprinted toward the front door. The police burst in, fully armed. Ben didn't even get the chance to fight back. Within seconds, he was pinned to the ground, his hands cuffed behind his back. Rita collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. As the officers searched Ben's house, the truth became horrifyingly clear. In one of the locked rooms, they found women's belongings, dozens of handbags, jewelry, clothes, and even ID cards, which belonged to some of the missing women, had been reported dead. Rita felt her stomach churn. She had almost become one of them. Later on, her friend Rose arrived at the scene, with tears streaming down her face. "I told you not to go," she whispered, hugging Rita tightly. Rita sobbed. "I was so stupid. I didn't listen." A female officer placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You were lucky. Most women don't make it out alive." Rita shivered, knowing how close she had come to death. Days later, Ben was identified as a serial predator, responsible for the disappearance of multiple women over the years. His face was plastered all over the media. Rita couldn't sleep. Nightmares haunted her. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw his face, his cold, calculated smile. She started therapy, determined to heal from the trauma. One day, she sat in front of her phone, went live on social media, and decided to tell her story. "Ladies, I'm begging you," she said, her voice trembling. "Never go to a man's house alone. No matter how sweet he seems. No matter how rich he is. Always be careful. Always tell someone where you are." Her story went viral. Women across the country shared their own experiences, warning others to be cautious. Ben's trial was set, and he was sentenced to life in prison without an adjournment. Justice was served. Months passed, and Rita slowly regained her confidence. She had started self-defense classes, determined to never feel powerless again. Rose remained by her side, a true friend through it all. One afternoon, as they walked through a crowded market, Rita heard someone call her name. She turned and saw a young woman staring at her. "You're Rita, right?" the girl asked. "Your story saved my life." Tears welled in Rita's eyes. She realized that her pain had a purpose. Once again, Rita took to her social media handle to post some advice and encouraging words. This could have been anyone. If you ever feel uncomfortable, leave. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it is. Don't let love blind you. Your safety matters. If this story touched you, please take a moment to share it with your loved ones. We must raise awareness and protect each other. Do you have a story to share? Let's create a community where we can all look out for one another. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss another life-saving story. Your support helps spread these important messages. Stay safe, stay informed, and always trust your instincts. See you in the next story.